Good afternoon, my lovely followers. We are back again. It's your queen, Tara. I know my video yesterday was kind of disorganized, and it wasn't as long as I normally make them. I was kind of crunched for time, you know. I apologize for that. My brain was kind of like all over the place. I'll try to be more organized today. Today, I think I wanted to discuss... No, I don't think. I know I want to discuss Greenland. And how Greenland is going to ultimately be the thing that brings down the U.S. empire. If the orange fascist does truly decide to invade Greenland, it will be the end. For multiple reasons. First of all, regarding Greenland's natural resources. Natural resources. You know, the things that Trump claims he wants to have. Which this is clearly one of the reasons he's doing it. It's not just because of Russia and China. Like, that's a complete lie. Russia and China have no interest in Greenland. They've never expressed any interest in Greenland. At all. And there's a reason for that. And it has to do with Greenland's natural resources. Natural resources. And the fact that they are extremely hard to extract. That's why no one has extracted them. That's why, because Greenland's natural resources are buried underneath ice. Because what you have to understand about Greenland is that the vast majority of the country is covered by ice. And the fact that it's an Arctic region makes extracting those resources very hard and very expensive. That is why Donald Trump is going to topple the empire and end up causing it to collapse. Because he is insisting upon taking Greenland. And Greenland is not going to be the prize that he thinks it is. It's not. It's just straight up not, guys. As I mentioned before, its natural resources will be very hard to extract, given the Arctic conditions and the fact that a huge percentage of the country is actually under ice. Makes it very hard to extract those resources. And the other reason why Greenland is going to cause, by conquering Greenland, is going to cause the empire to collapse is because it's going to alienate America from Europe. You know, further alienate us the more than the tariffs already have. Which tariffs, I feel like tariffs are also part of that. But we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about tariffs later. Like right now we're focusing on Greenland and why Greenland... The proposal of conquering Greenland by the military-industrial complex is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Because it's going to greatly harm our relationship with Europe. It is. Like, it's going to make Europe turn on America. All these years, like, the entire premise of NATO was built because Europeans have falsely believed that Russia is the main threat to their countries. For decades, since the end of the Cold War, they have falsely believed that. It's why they've done what they've done. It's why they have broken their agreements and expanded their borders, despite the fact that they agreed not to when the Soviet Union collapsed. Because Europeans were sold a lie that Russia is somehow their enemy, when in reality it's the United States that is taking advantage of them. And if the Tangerine Tyrant, if the Orange Fascist, does indeed invade Greenland, it will wake up all of Europe, all of mainland Europe, to the reality that America is the world bully. That it was never Russia, It was never China. It was never Iran. It was never any of these countries that the powers that be, especially here in the good old US of A, it was never any of these people that the powers that be would have you believe are a threat. It was never them. It was never them. It was the USA. The USA has always been the biggest threat to world peace, and Europe is quickly waking up to that reality. And if America does steal Greenland, does conquer it, you can pretty much guarantee that Europe will turn on them. And that eventually we're going to see counter tariffs. Eventually we're going to see people looking for an alternative currency. Just like we've already seen in Asia with BRICS, with China. How China, India, Russia, South Africa, Brazil, all these countries, all these decent-sized, powerful countries, have pretty much decided to ditch the dollar. They are working within a new financial system that is separate from the US dollar. The yuan, the petro yuan, and the ruble. And if Trump does alienate Europe by invading Greenland, then I strongly suspect that Europe will eventually do the same. That they too will ditch the dollar. And then America's kind of just done. Like, we have pissed off all our allies. We pissed off Canada. We pissed off Mexico. We pissed off Europe. The powers that be, the orange fascist and his idiot cronies, have pissed off the entire world and have exposed America as the world bully once and for all. And that's going to have consequences. The world is not going to tolerate us very much longer. The Pax Americana is pretty much over. And Greenland will be the final nail in the coffin. Because it will wake up the European countries and the European powers to the fact that America is the world bully and always has been. And I think we could finally see Europe retaliating against the tariffs. I think we could finally see counter tariffs against the United States. European countries could finally start charging their own tariffs, or just cutting us out of the loop entirely, just ditching the dollar and choosing an alternate currency to do business with in Europe. Maybe we'll even see more countries join BRICS. Like, we can always hope for that. I think BRICS is a good alternative to the US. And it's a much needed alternative because, let's be real, America is the world bully. America is everything that is wrong with the world. And this empire is circling the drain faster and faster with each passing day. Mark my words, my lovely followers, it's over. Greenland will be the last straw. We are going to lose, America is going to lose all of its allies. It is going to be the enemy of the entire world, except for Israel. And let's be real, Israel is not loyal to America the way America is loyal to Israel. It's not. Israel would abandon us at the drop of a hat to save themselves. Unlike America, Israel will do what's best for itself every time. They already have strong relations with China, Russia, and Europe, because there are Israeli arms manufacturers that are having, right now, that are making really important deals in Europe that are going to help the Europeans rearm. And we could potentially see those contracts where those Israeli arms dealers expand if America and Europe have a bad relationship. Then we could potentially see those Israeli arms manufacturers expand their business. We could potentially see Israel becoming more powerful while America collapses. we could potentially see the rise of the Pax Judaica. And I didn't intend to really talk that much about Pax Judaica in this video. I am saving that for a future video, so I have more opportunity to better research for it. But that's the reality. The reality is that America is being replaced, and that Israel is positioning itself to benefit from America's collapse. If you want more information about this, about what Israel is doing, feel free to look up Kim Iverson. She has an excellent video that I watched actually this morning, just before I got on with you guys, where she explains it in detail. When I'm done with this video, I'm going to go back and add that video to my anti-Zionist playlist, where she explains why Israel is taking advantage of America's collapse. And I would encourage all my lovely followers to please watch that video. It was very informative. I found it very informative and helpful. So I would encourage all of you to please watch it. And the final thing I want to talk about in regards to Greenland and its inevitable, and how Greenland will be the thing that causes America to collapse, is our ridiculous president, like our selfish, narcissistic president in his letter to the Prime Minister of Norway. Essentially, Donald Trump wrote a letter to the Prime Minister of Norway and threatened to invade Greenland because he did not receive a Nobel Peace Prize. That's a real thing. You can look it up. Kim Iverson mentions that in her video. Or maybe it was Breaking Points. Maybe it was either Kim Iverson or Breaking Points who mentioned that. That's a real thing, that Donald Trump, part of the reason why he wants to invade Greenland is because he is a narcissistic, selfish piece of crap who is butthurt because he didn't get a Nobel Peace Prize. And he literally wrote a letter to Norway, to the Prime Minister of Norway, saying pretty much that same thing. I'm paraphrasing, that's not the exact words he used, but like pretty much that's what it is, if you look into it. That Donald Trump is a psychopath. Donald Trump is a egomaniac. He's a narcissistic fascist piece of crap who is going to start a war and alienate America from all of Europe and cause the dollar to collapse, because Europe is waking up. The world is waking up to the reality that America is the world bully. To the reality that they have been fed a lie about Russia and China and all these other countries that we have been told to fear by Fox News and the US mainstream media. All these countries that they want you to be scared of that are supposedly coming for us. That's a lie. That's a narrative invented by the media, the US media, the lamestream media, and the military-industrial complex. It is. Like, America is the problem. Just look at what's going on in our country. Look at the ICE fascists. Look at how they're treating people. Look at what we're having. We are devolving into a fascist police state overnight. Like, it's getting worse and worse and worse. And there's not really anybody who can pull us out of this. Like, the do-nothing Democrats aren't going to do anything. They're too weak. They've already caved. Like, remember when they voted to end the shutdown and ended up costing us all our CBD? Remember that? The do-nothing Democrats have proven that they are a bunch of feckless weaklings who will do nothing to stop this fascism. Who will bend over, spread their cheeks, and take it. So they are not a solution. The do-nothing Democrats are not a solution. The surrender Dems. They're pathetic and weak. And they're not a solution. They're not going to be a solution to our problem. Now, I still believe I still strongly believe that there will be a blue wave in the midterms. But like I've said on countless times, that's not going to be enough. That's not going to be enough to fix our problem. It's just not. It's never going to be enough. Like, this is it. The empire is collapsing. Greenland will be the final nail in the coffin that will finally turn Europe against America and make them realize that they have been fighting the wrong enemy this whole time. That Russia is not their enemy. Russia never was their enemy. And all that was just hysteria by America to turn Europeans against each other. Okay, I believe I've talked about everything I need to cover in this video. I covered the important parts. I covered how Norway's natural resources are buried underneath ice, and it would be expensive and very laborious to extract them because of the Arctic conditions. That's why nobody's done it. That's why you haven't seen companies go in, because doing so would be very expensive. That's why Russia and China have no interest in Greenland, because they know that. Like, the United States is going to alienate itself from Europe and from a huge chunk of the world if it does this. If we do this, we will be no better than Putin. Which, honestly, Putin had more justification for invading Ukraine than we do for invading Greenland. But that, my lovely followers, is a conversation for another day. But I just wanted to make the point. That was my first point about the natural resources. My second point, about how Israel is positioning itself to take advantage of the collapse of America and is going to take over the arms industry in Europe and is going to make a buttload of money at our expense, because Israel is positioning itself to stab America in the back, to kick them while they're down and become one of the number one arms manufacturers for all of Europe. And my final point was the Nobel Prize, how Donald Trump's ego is what's behind this, how we are doing all this, how we are threatening to invade Greenland because the orange fascist and his ego, because he didn't get the Nobel Prize. And this is his way of being like a petty, petulant child and getting revenge on all of Europe. And it's going to cost us all dearly. Oh, and before I end this video, one more thing, the tariffs. Donald Trump also wants to start charging a 10% tariff on, I believe it's Norway. I don't know if it's all European countries, but I know it's Norway, on all products from Norway. And he has threatened to increase that tariff to 25% by June 1st if they do not agree to sell him Greenland. He is essentially using tariffs to strong-arm Europe into selling him Greenland. He is using them to bully his allies in Europe. And this is terrible. This is a bad decision. This is going to push Europe to seek alternatives. It's going to push them to seek alternatives. Whether that alternative be the BRICS system, whether that alternative be the Russian ruble, it is going to essentially force Europe to seek out an alternative to the American dollar. Because bullying doesn't work. Because tariffs, aka financial bullying of other countries, does not work. And we're going to find that out the hard way when everything collapses. When everything collapses. Alright, I think I'm going to be bringing this video to a close soon. I think I've covered everything. I covered all the important parts. If I didn't cover it, if there's something I forgot, my lovely followers can feel free to seek out Breaking Points or Kim Iverson or Redacted. Those channels do a really good job of covering these sorts of things, and they provide a lot of really valuable information. They are independent media channels that provide valuable information, and I would highly encourage my lovely followers to subscribe to them. And to subscribe to me if you haven't. I hope you found this video informative and entertaining. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for your support, especially if you watched to the end. Thank you for that. Please like and subscribe if you found this video entertaining and enjoyable. Thank you for your support. And we're off.